you can point to the students that this statue was put up and then removed after complaints by people because it's anatomically correct. Oh, I'm sorry.
Shani's like, where's the page? I'm blind. I've been reading 1990.
Sorry, I mean, all the movies have that, you know.
Okay. Gotta brush up on movies. I've been out of the movies.
Well, it's flipped fine. You can't see it that much. So I'm always put it on pause. This statue was very controversial when it was put up because he's anatomically correct. And the Toronto was so prudish that wasn't acceptable when this was put in, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? There's a date on it, again in Roman numerals, 84. Yeah, 84. And in 84, that was a problem. This thing was in hiding for 8 or 10 years until finally somebody brought it out and the controversy had passed. But when I came to Toronto, they had a stage play called Bye Bye Baby Blue where there was nudity on stage and they were doing, it was a variety of things. The police raided the place and arrested the...
Really?
Yes, the actors and the playwright and shut the thing down and there were charges laid and for, public nudity and it was... And this was,
and now
this was like 75, 1974, 75.
Wow.
Okay. So in 84, for this to be controversial, that goes to show you the mindset of the city. It's not liberal. This is not. This is a small C conservative town.
Very conservative.
Ottawa was even worse. Rod Robbie said when he worked with Peter Dickinson, and Peter Dickinson in the mid 50s said, Rod, you go to Ottawa and set up the office in Ottawa. And Rod said that what this city needs, what Ottawa needs, is a drive-through funeral parlor. Because the city's so dead, that'll bring some life to it. We went even today. We went there, and the only people there were the tourists. In the evening, everybody's out of town. There's no condos downtown. There's nothing.
Yeah, it is a dead city of things.
Then there's another group that does the Royal Bank.
Yep.
And what you see there is gold.
On the glass, yeah.
the glass.
24 karat in the basement, right?
Yep. There's a whole, I love this. Look at this building here. Look at this view here. Okay. Blocked up by the TV center. Actually, this is much better than it used to be because now you can see the CIBC building, and you can start to see the spaces that are created.
So this is CIBC, the Golden Building.
No, this is RBC.
Is the Royal Bank. The CIBC is back there. That's
at the backdrop. Yeah.
That one is it. Oh yeah, that's right.
And this is the TD Bank. That's,
Wow, TD. Yeah, that's a nice juxtaposed bank buildings.
Yeah.
So TD and CIBC and then...
And Royal Bank. Royal Bank is in front, the gold one.
Okay, so the gold is royal.
The gold is the Royal Bank. And then I asked the students a question, why is it gold? Is it just a bank showing off they got money to waste? Okay. And the answer is that, yes, they deal with money, but they're also trying to keep that glass facing south, absorbs a lot of heat.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically to reflect the light and keep the light in. Also, you notice the pattern, the wall isn't straight. When you look at the TD Bank over there, you've got two corner offices, right? Here, every office is a corner.
Yeah.
And inside, it's very interesting space inside. I've been in there. What I have to do is give you guys, I've got to find it somewhere in my files, pictures of the roof of this from the TD building. We were up on the 54th floor or something in there looking down on this, and what's on the roof is very interesting because you have track on the roof for the swing stage for washing the windows. So the roof is very clean.
Okay.
There's, most of the roofs you've got junk on it, but no, these are very, very clean because you can't afford everything on there because the winds are so strong. If you have anything up there, it'll blow it away.
Okay.
Has to be clean.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you notice we're walking on granite?
It's like it.
So a couple of people will present on this building. They'll talk about how high it is, when it was done, who did it, The main buildings are done by Webb, Zarafa, Menkes, Houston, who was one of the firms that was WZBH MH, was one of the companies that when Peter Dickinson died, and he died fairly early, were just the architects in his office who then opened their own practices. So Robbie did one, Webb, Zarafa, Menkes, Houston, Webb, Zarafa originally, and a couple other firms from the 70s, 60s and 70s that became the big name people. Dickinson was from England. He's noted for breaking open the architectural field. He could not break in. He couldn't marry into it. He was already married. And they wouldn't share with him. So he said, up yours, I'm going to charge less. Whoa, oh, fee fight. The OAA controlled fees for architectural services. The OAA took him to court. Everybody was up in arms. And yeah, they took him to court. And he said, you can't fix prices. That's price fixing. You can't do that. And so I take the students up here. Security comes and tells you to get off the stairs. I tell them, bunch up, leave people room to get in there. And then we look at here. And I say, okay, about 2/3 of the way up, that's how tall the pyramids were.
2/3.
2/3 of the way up. Okay?
That's tall.
And of course, when you start this, I always tell them, I want you guys to have a stiff neck, but if you're supposed to look up. You're a tourist. You know,
right.
Get a crinkle in your neck because I want you to look up and look at the forms, the shapes. If you're lucky, there's no wind, they'll wash windows. Most of the time, they've done it right now. It's not the time for it, but usually in the fall when we do these tours, you get some swing state coming down or something.
So 2/3 the height is how tall the pyramids.
Yeah, roughly.
So pretty much where we start to taper back.
So just below that, yeah.
Below that, yeah.
I mean, just imagine that stone piled up
That high.
Yeah.
Not by hand,
Yeah.
not by animal.
And within
17 years. Wow.
17 years, a standing crew of 2,500 stone cutters who cut stone in the quarry, and then the entire, the pyramids were make work projects. When the Nile flooded, all the farmers had to get off the fields, and so they were up in the desert, and they had no source of food, nothing. All their land was flooded, and they were waiting for the surveyors to come and put the survey markers back as to whose plot was what. And so in the meantime, for those 2 or 3 months, they had no income. And so then the pharaoh had to sort of prevent unrest and put up the work. And so, which is why in some one pharaoh had 3 pyramids going. You know, that was it. And you got paid in beer and onions, honey beer. And so that's really what they were make work projects. And they were very highly organized. They had towns. Those towns were occupied for 3 months out of the year. The crews would come in, clean the place out. There were food, deliveries. I mean, it had to be organized to make it happen. And they built those pyramids in 17 years, within a 17-year, 18-year period.
How come we don't see any vernacular architecture tied to the Egyptians? We always just see the pyramids.
Because people don't investigate deep enough. There are some fantastic residential. There's some great drawings, and they were the basis for the Art Deco period, which when Tutankhamun was dug up, King Tut, the gold and the patterns, and all of those were incorporated into the interior design and building design. And so estates now had an Egyptian quality to them. And there are drawings, models of an estate residence in Egypt where you'd have a well, you would have maybe a pool, which would have some water, certainly a granary, animal quarters, slave quarters, and then the main house. Okay,
so
and a wall around and a security. I mean, there'd be a guard. There'd be a double gate. You let people in the first, and you then check out who they are. You don't just open the door and let them come
But
in.
only because it's somebody important living there, right? It's probably a governor.
Anyone, not necessarily somebody really. It could be just a landowner. Okay, somebody who's running a business or an estate, and so that's where he's going to have that. That's where. You're either a servant or you're a slave. Today you're either in one of these things
Yeah.
or you're in the lower levels.
Yeah, working outside. That's true. It's funny, yeah, that's right.
You've got-
So Michael, you work on this side of the building, right? We were doing presentations on that side, but
No, I'd
probably
say
better.
do it here
Yeah,
because it's a lot safer.
you can see it from.
Yeah, and you can see. Then when we go, yeah, no, that was, the other thing is you've got your classical columns there. Okay, so those are your classical ionic columns, and this is your basic European administrative building. That's the way they're. You know, when I walked into one of those, I felt right at home because that's what Europeans would do, classical construction. That's one of the only examples. I'm glad they're keeping it. Anyway, okay.
So basically students have to do their research and
Yes.
have their presentations before.
No, here. They're presenting here.
Outside, right in front of the building.